Okay, these are probate deals. Should I pursue them? I'm going to talk about it in the perspective of land investing, but it applies to houses as well. Um, Here's what I think about them. The probate deals that I've done, it is, in my opinion, not worth pursuing them like diligently. What I mean by that is when I've done deals with probate. Probate, by the way, is someone passed away, and that owns a property, and usually it's gonna be uh, a son or daughter that it's in a will or maybe not in a will, but it was mom's or dad's, right? They're no longer around, and they're they basically want cash, right? That's what's going on. They don't necessarily want the property itself. They want to you know pull out cash from it. So usually there'll be multiple properties involved. So in most scenarios, you'll have this is San Antonio probate lawyers. I used to live in San Antonio, so um, a lot of times when there's multiple properties involved, multiple assets, cars, all these things, what will happen is they'll contact a probate lawyer, and probate lawyers, what will happen is they'll funnel deals, the ones they want to keep for themselves, because some of these, some of the children don't necessarily have cash to pay them. And so what they'll do is they'll take a percentage, 10, 15, 20% off of, the cash sales. Or, if they have multiple, houses and land, they a lot of times probate lawyers will take one of those assets for themselves. So they'll probate it all over to the children, but like this vacant lot will take it. So there's probate lawyers that will kind of use cash or assets to pick up property for themselves. And what you could do is you could reach out to probate lawyers, because some of these properties, they're gonna need you know they're going to need to ultimately sell it. If you build relationships with probate lawyers, you can get deals on this. I've had access to deals just talking to probate lawyers. But predominantly, if you're kind of doing traditional wholesaling, or buying and retailing in land or in houses, you're gonna go directly to homeowners or landowners directly. And in those situations where they haven't done the pre-work to get things ready, like if a property is owned by mom or dad or both, and they're no longer here, it doesn't automatically transfer over to the kids. And so the kids need to get that property into their name, and it's called usually a personal representative deed, or a executor's deed, that a probate lawyer will file and set up for you. There's usually probate judges within counties themselves, and so it's possible that they're able to go to the county judge and essentially get that switched over and get the paperwork ready. Most people won't be able to do that by themselves, so that's why they hire these probate lawyers. But there's some people that are able to do it themselves and able to sell it. In most scenarios that you'll go with, you won't have that scenario. So they're starting in the beginning, and this process takes months to get approved. Typically, what happens is um, they'll have to do like a newspaper ad of some sort and let them know, like, hey, it's going to go over. The complications here are, like, if there's multiple kids involved, and there's no clear will, well, they could ultimately fight for stuff, right? In those cases, that's an absolute no. But usually, what I'll do is I'll refer them over to, um, a judge that's doing the probates, or a probate lawyer for them to set it up. And after they get it in their name, then I could buy it from them, right? Either houses, or land. So that whole process of taking months, it's, at least with land investing, it's really not worth my time to really guide it. In the beginning, I was, hustling for deals, and I didn't have great deal flow. So I literally walked through the process with them. I literally went to the probate judge, called them, bugged them, this, that, right, and got it for them, got it transferred over to their names, and then bought it from them. But man, I'm basically, if you're doing that, you're basically doing the role of a probate lawyer, right, for them, just so you can do this deal. And it's just a lot more legal finesse that isn't kind of necessary. If they really are interested in selling, you could refer them over to a probate lawyer, or the judge, and then go with that. So if this is like a specific strategy, that's how you're getting these deals. Like you're specifically, um, targeting people that are older. That have passed away of some sort, and you have some kind of data filtering site, or you're um, literally advertising on Google or at Facebook for these types of deals, like um, then you're actively going for it. But I would say for most people, it's just okay. There's easier ways to get deals that don't involve probate, and you are kind of missing out on um, a wider spectrum of people that it doesn't have to go through probate. The guy's like interested in selling like now, right? And those are the types of people that I generally prefer working with, because we're ready to go now. There's not a process, a pre-process there of getting it into their kids' names. Um, there's one caveat here. If you are working with like bigger lots, um, or bigger houses in general, um, you know, a property in probate is a much more difficult deal to process than it is just a straight deal if they were the owner. And so you can get more significant discounts by working with probate if you are working on the higher end of deals. So if that's kind of the focus that you want to go after, then you go with it. And there's money to be made there, but it's a little bit more niche. It's a little bit more specific. There's a little bit more legal stuff involved, um, and so just prepare for that. But that's it with probate. Let me show you. Okay, so that was San Antonio, but let me show you like New Mexico, Valencia probate judge. Yeah, so if you see, like, usually there's a probate judge of some sort. Duties of the probate courts, they'll, assuming there's a will or testament, that basically means the will, right? Is there a will? There needs to be a personal representative, and you're basically, they give you the packets here. Let me see if San Antonio has it. So, like, San Antonio probate judge, because the lawyers have to basically go to the judge, and you technically, for probate, you do not need a lawyer from my understanding, but the paperwork and all that takes months. So it's kind of like, it's just much easier just to work with a lawyer, but they're going to get significant cuts, like cuts off with that if you use a probate judge. And so you kind of have to weigh all these things out when you are doing these types of deals. So yeah, so yeah, like look here, San Antonio, Bexar County. There's the staff attorneys and there's probate courts, and what will happen is you'll have to literally call them if you're gonna do it yourself. Call them to have them kind of help you walk through the steps and some of the paperwork. Um, so that's that. There's deals with the will and without. It ends up kind of being the same thing. What's important there is that there's some kind of relationship. Either generally you're the kid or the husband or wife of the one that passed away, and there's no one else basically fighting you for it. If someone's fighting, like if there's like a situation where it's like the stepmom and she's married, and it's like the original kids, and then there's the step kids, and everyone's like fighting for assets. That's when things get messy. That's why wills become important. But if it's just, there's no other real, you know, fight going on for assets, then it's generally a smooth process. It just takes months, and so that's the probate. So when you consider those things, you have to weigh out like, oh, is this something I want to do? But that's probate, and if it's worth getting going with it, I have done probate deals. I want you to understand, like, it is doable, but it is more work than you think if you're gonna like do the process. And your profits drastically decrease when there's a probate judge. So you have to be talking about higher dollar amounts. So that's that. If you are interested in investing in lands, it is how my wife and I were able to quit our jobs. It's in the description below. Otherwise, subscribe, like the channel. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.